Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we are going to learn about IELTS Writing Task 2. We are going to focus on how to write a course solution essay. A course solution essay. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to write the introduction. In the next lesson, I'm going to teach you how to write the main body and the conclusion. So once you have watched how to write the introduction, I recommend that you watch the next video on how to write the main body and the conclusion of exactly the same essay question. Before we begin our lesson, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful. Remember, I upload videos not only on IELTS writing but also speaking, and I have plenty of videos on vocabulary, grammar, and also how to speak English in different situations. For example, when you go to the doctor, or when you go to the optician, or when you go to the hairdresser, I have plenty of playlists that I believe you will find very useful. So do not forget to subscribe to the channel because I will be uploading plenty of videos on Writing Task 1 and Writing Task 2, and also videos on speaking part 1 and cue cards on part 2 and part 3. Now let's begin our lesson by looking at a few things that are very important for you to remember when it comes to IELTS Writing Task 2. The first thing is that you get 40 minutes to write your Task 2. Secondly, you should write over 250 words. If you're aiming for a band 8 or a band 9, then you should write 300 words. Your IELTS Task 2 is worth about 66% of your total writing marks. You will be marked on task response, that is, whether you understand the question and whether you have responded to all the parts of the question. Secondly, you will be marked on coherence and cohesion, how your paragraphs are ordered, how you use linking words to introduce your key and your subpoints. You also will be marked on your vocabulary and finally your grammar. The other thing that I would really like to point out is there is no difference between the IELTS or the academic IELTS or the general training IELTS when it comes to your Writing Task 2. Your Writing Task 2 is exactly the same. The general training Writing Task 2 is the same as the academic IELTS. The essay is written in the same way and the scoring is the same. The only difference is that the general training essay questions are often easier and the topics are simpler. So this question is for the general training and the academic IELTS. Now, once we have got that out of the way, let's get into our question. The most important thing is to understand the question. Our question is, overpopulation in many major urban centers around the world is a major problem. What are the causes of this? How can this problem be solved? The first word is overpopulation. That you would need to underline. And then the next word that you need to underline is urban centers. And then we have all over the world. And then we have a major problem. After that, we have two questions. What are the causes? Underline causes. And how can this problem be solved? Underline solved. Once you have understood the question, then you move on to write the introduction. When it comes to your introduction, the examiner is looking for two things: the background statement and the thesis statement. How do you write the background statement? It's the easiest thing to write when it comes to your IELTS Writing Task 2. All you have to do is simply paraphrase IELTS statement. In other words, write it in your own words. After you have done that, ensure that you do not change the original meaning. So all you have to do, rewrite IELTS statement that is right there with you in the exam room, but remember not to change the original meaning. So how do you do that? Let's look at our question and do it together. Are you ready? Now, the first word that we have in IELTS statement is overpopulation. So we have to think of another word which has exactly the same meaning. And in my case, I replaced overpopulation with overcrowding. The next word is in. That we do not change. It's a preposition. The next word is many. We replace many with numerous. Numerous and many mean exactly the same. The next word is major. I replace the word major with key. Key and major in this context mean exactly the same. The next word is urban. I will not change that word because that word is very important in this question. If I change it, it might affect the original meaning. So remember, you're allowed to keep some keyword that you think is going to be very significant in the question. So urban, I keep it. The next word is centers. Centers, I replace that with cities. Cities and centers in this case mean the same. The next word is around the world. I am going to replace all those three words with the word globally. Globally means around the world. Now, if you don't want to replace all the three words, then you can replace the word around with all over. All over means exactly the same as around. And then you can keep that and replace the word world with planet, for example. Okay? You can replace world with planet if you wish to. Okay? So, in my case, I decided to replace the whole phrase around the world with the word globally. Okay? Because I am aiming for a band 9. Okay? So, but if you wish, you can replace the word around with all over. You keep that, and then you can replace the word world with, for example, all over the world. Okay, we have around the world, so you can replace world with planet if you want, and around you can replace it with all over. Okay, now the next word is, so we are going to keep that, and we are going to keep that, and then we have the word major, and we are going to replace the word major with the word substantial. It is a major problem. We replace major with substantial, and we replace problem with drawback. Okay, drawback. Drawback means problem in this case. Okay, you can also simply use the word a substantial difficulty. You can replace the word problem with difficulty. But because I'm aiming for a band 9, I am going to use advanced vocabulary. So I will replace drawback with problem. So that's how you write the background statement. You simply have to rewrite IELTS statement. Rewrite it in your own words by finding words that mean the same. Use word synonyms, and all you have to remember is do not change the original meaning of the statement. You're allowed to keep a word if you think it's going to, changing it is going to affect the original meaning. Now, as you can see, IELTS statement, overpopulation in many major urban centers around the world is a major problem. That is one sentence. And my background statement, Overcrowding in numerous key urban cities globally is a substantial drawback. Overcrowding in numerous key urban cities globally is a substantial drawback. That is also one sentence. So you should just have one sentence for your background statement. Do not write more than that unless IELTS statement is in 2 sentences. The next thing that you have to write is the thesis statement. So the examiner, after they have marked the background statement in your introduction, they are now looking for the thesis statement. And the way we write the thesis statement for a course solution essay is slightly different than the others. So take note of the difference. The first thing that you have to do is look at the question. We have 2 questions. What are the causes of this? And the second question is, how can this problem be solved? In your thesis statement, you should answer the first question, which is, what are the causes of this? You should answer that question. You should do that by writing two general causes for the problem. 2 of them, okay? And they should be general. You don't need to elaborate because this is your thesis statement. It is almost as if you're summarizing the essay. You need to state 2 general causes for the problem. Now let's see how I have done that. The question that IELTS has asked me first is, what are the causes of this? My answer is, this is mainly as a result of rural to urban migration and natural population increase. This is mainly as a result of rural to urban migration and natural population increase. So I am answering IELTS question, what are the causes of overpopulation in major urban centers all over the world? What is the cause of that problem? What has led to the problem of overpopulation in major urban centers all over the world? And my answer to that question is that this is mainly as a result of rural to urban migration and natural population increase. So I have 2 reasons that I believe have led to overpopulation in urban centers all over the world. The first one is rural to urban migration. That means when people move from the rural areas, from the villages to urban cities, okay? When people move from the small cities in the countryside or the villages to live in the bigger cities, like for example, the capital city, okay, of your country, you have a lot of people who have moved from the rural areas or from the villages or from the countryside, and they have gone to live in the big cities in your country. That is what we call rural urban migration. So they have migrated, they have moved from the rural areas, which are the remote areas, like villages, for example, small cities, for example, the countryside. So they move from there to the big cities, and that leads to overpopulation, overcrowding. And the other reason which has led to overpopulation in urban centers all over the world is natural population increase. We have more people in the world than we had, for example, 10 years ago. And as a result of that, a lot of them have ended up in the bigger cities. And as a result, we now have overpopulation, we have overcrowding. So I have identified 2 causes of overpopulation, and that is rural to urban migration, and the second one is natural population increase. So that is what you should do in the first part of your thesis statement when it comes to your course solution essay. Write 2 causes for the problem. After that, you move on to the second question, and that is, how can this problem be solved? how can this problem be solved? Now, all you have to do in the second part of your thesis statement is indicate that there are several ways to solve the problem. That's all you have to do. You do not and you should not respond to the second question in your thesis statement, because that's what the rest of your essay is going to be mainly about. Okay? In the rest of your essay, you're going to talk about the causes of the problem, and then you're also going to talk about how this problem can be solved. So the end of your thesis statement is introducing that part of the essay. So what you should write there is, there are a number of solutions which should be implemented in order to curb overpopulation in urban areas all over the world. So all you have to do is write the statement, there are a number of solutions which should be implemented in order to curb. And then you repeat the question, okay? How can this problem be solved? The problem is overpopulation in many major urban centers all over the world. So you repeat that there are a number of solutions which should be implemented in order to curb, okay? To curb means to deal with, to solve the problem of overpopulation in urban areas all over the world. So I simply repeat in the final part of my thesis statement, I repeat the first part of the question. There are a number of solutions which should be implemented to do what? In order to curb overpopulation in urban areas all over the world. Okay? So in the last part of my thesis statement, I have repeated the problem. There are a number of solutions, and then after that, I repeat the question, which should be implemented in order to curb or to deal with or to end or to reduce overpopulation in urban areas all over the world. So that's how you write the thesis statement. Now, just to recap a few things to remind you to ensure that you answer this question correctly. First of all, once you have received your question, read it very carefully. Make sure you understand it. Underline the key words in the question. After that, write your background statement. In your background statement, simply paraphrase IELTS statement. Remember not to change the original meaning. All you have to do is rewrite the statement in your own words, but ensure the original meaning is the same. Please do not copy IELTS statement. They will not accept it because it's not yours. It belongs to IELTS. Some students just copy IELTS statement. When you do that, you gain no marks whatsoever. So do not copy IELTS statement. Instead, rewrite IELTS statement in your own words. Okay? Once you have done that, then write your thesis statement. Take care how you write your thesis statement for a core solution essay. Firstly, you write 2 reasons, 2 causes for the problem. That is answering the first part of the question. What are the causes of this? And they should be general causes, 2 of them, okay? That you're going to write about later, you're going to write about them in the main body paragraph. Okay, you're going to write a whole body paragraph about the causes of the problem. So the 2 general causes for the problem, write in the first part of your thesis statement. You will elaborate them further in your main body paragraph. And then once you have done that, then respond to the second part of the question, and that is, how can this problem be solved? Make it very clear. Always begin with the words, there are a number of solutions which should be implemented in order to, and then you repeat the question, okay? In order to curb, or you can even say in order to solve, okay? In order to solve overpopulation in major urban centers all over the world. So you can repeat the question. This is the first part of the question, in other words, the statement. Okay, so take care. Once you have written the 2 general causes for the problem in the first part of your thesis statement, in the second part, ensure that you begin with there are a number of solutions which should be implemented in order to solve the problem of overpopulation all over the world. You can write that too, no problem. Okay, so that's how you write the background statement and the thesis statement. Now, if you found this lesson useful, then subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and do not forget to share this video on all your social media platforms. And turn your notification button on, because I'm going to upload the second part of this essay, and that is how to write the main body and the conclusion. And remember, this will be a Band 9 essay. So you definitely want to see how to write it. Now, thank you very much, and see you in our next lesson. Bye-bye.